they start judging themselves as like just a projection onto me, and then all of a sudden I'm the asshole in the room. It's an odd dynamic, and I just really just have to stand there and be sober, and it just kind of happens around me.
This is not an interview. There is no format. This is simply a conversation about life.
So I never, being in recovery versus straight edge, I never get that reaction of trying to get me to have a drink. But for me, it's like you said, the best is when someone's like, oh, cool, and then leaves it. But it also then people become very self-conscious of their own drinking. And
oh, I forgot that one. Yes, absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that happens. Yeah, that makes sense that happens as well because.
But it's a different kind of self-conscious, I think.
Yeah.
So, but go on. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
It's because people compare, oh, she's in recovery, so she must have been really bad. But we would drink together, me and her, and I would be able to keep up with her. It wasn't, and the thing is, it takes all kinds, all colors, all stories. There's no, you're rock bottom isn't at the same level for everyone. You're in the rooms because, sorry, I say the rooms, I mean AA and NA,
Okay.
recovery rooms when we have meetings. So you come to the rooms, you come to AA and NA or any other recovery program because your life is not where you want it to be and you are unhappy and you need to change. And so when people then say, oh, well, she thought hers was bad enough that she had to start, this 12-step program. Does that mean that she thinks that I'm bad enough? Does that mean that I'm bad enough? Does that mean that, is she now judging me for drinking? Because obviously she thinks it's bad. So that must mean that she thinks that I'm bad. And that's caused a few frictional, some friction. And it's a tough one to navigate sometimes because it especially happens more as people drink. So I'll go to a party or I'll go to a bar where people are drinking and I'll have my Coke, and people usually are fine in the beginning, but as they get more drunk, they become more insecure and self-conscious, which then they put on me because I'm not drinking and they know, oh, we're not on the same level. They start judging themselves as like just a projection onto me, and then all of a sudden I'm the asshole in the room. It's an odd dynamic, and I just really just have to stand there and be sober, and it just kind of happens around me. So I don't know if people have a similar reaction to straight edge.
Yeah, actually, I mean, I don't think I actively use the term straight edge in my everyday life or whatever. In that situation, I would say that, oh, I don't drink. Or I never say I don't drink. I just, if someone says, what are you having? I was like, I'm just having water or whatever. And then that's when the conversation starts. And but yeah, when I'm actually shocked. I guess it's exactly the same way. It's exactly the same way. People do become, some people do become very self-conscious, and I thought you were going to say that people become self-conscious because they're trying to be careful around you, but and I was going to say what you just said. So it's exactly the same thing, actually. Yeah. People do become self-conscious, and it's like they keep bringing it up in the conversation, and I'm like, hey, you know, I'm like not even talking about this. I'm here having
Yeah.
you know, like, what do you?
We could literally talk about anything else, but for some reason you keep bringing up how drunk you are.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's, I mean, it's also interesting because when it comes to people judging themselves, because I went from drinking and using to an abrupt stop and then not, that also caused a shift in relationships, as opposed to, I'm guessing, if this is just what you've done. So like you never based a relationship off of drugs or alcohol.
right.
Whereas that's something that I had to deal with. And these, for me, tend to be the people that have the most judgment in that way. They're very happy for me and they're very proud of me, but there's still that self-judgment. Well, we used to party together and she never seemed that bad. So now what does that mean? You know, what does that mean for us? And it's, I don't know if I have people that are careful around me. Usually they'll ask maybe in the beginning, like, do you mind if I have a drink? And then once I kind of give the okay, like, it's fine, then they'll go and they'll do their normal, you know, course of action as they would normally. But that dramatic shift in relationships of, going out friends with substances to then without, also caused a lot of friction and a lot of projected judgmentalness. So
Yeah. And
it
see,
might be a
that's what I mean. That I think it's a whole other level. That's exactly part of what I'm talking about. It's another level of what you. I mean, I'm 99% sure there are people who would prefer not to be around me because they don't feel like they can be free or whatever, you know,
right.
because they think I'm judging them, or they feel judged just by me being there, you know. And so that I can kind of understand, like, you know, but I've also had friends who, like, I had one friend that I was really close to, and she stopped hanging out with us because she went further into, like, she kind of got, I forget what this little scene was, like, around, like, what do they call these people? They used to have these motor scooters, and they kind of dressed up a lot. I think it was around the time, damn, what was that scene?
Rockabilly?
No, no.
Motor scooters and dressed up in what?
Not more, yeah, like more like suits and ties and stuff like that, like the Oasis style, and they had those Britishy hair mods.
Yeah, mod. That okay.
Yeah. So she kind of moved over into this mod scene, and then she was doing way. I mean, I was still hanging around guys and girls who drank and stuff like that, and maybe they did some other stuff, but you know, she kind of started hanging out with some people from that scene, and then just went to another level, and then she didn't want to hang out with us at all, because we were kind of like, for better, not the nicest thing to do. I mean, we didn't make fun of anyone to them, but it was like, oh my God, look at these guys, you know what I mean? Like, you know, whatever, drawing your little lines in the sand or whatever, they're over there doing this, and you know, and so she used to be over here with us thinking that way about them, and then I think because she was over there with them now, that like, and not that there wasn't an overlap and all of that stuff, because we were all going to the same places, because it would be like a mod night one night, and then a club night another night, and a rockabilly night the other, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
you know, goth night and stuff like that. So, but we would still run into each other, and then it was clear that she was like avoiding us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, and then she
And
stopped.
and that's, that's the thing, is that with friends that you make, whether, the ones, if you make a change or make a decision that is seen as drastic, then it's almost like you don't have to cut people out, because the people that aren't interested in what you're doing will slip away and they'll move on. I had a similar thing. I had kind of it just reminded me, I had a kind of the opposite of a babying, where when I would like a coddling of like, oh, do you mind if I drink around you? Okay. It was the opposite, where I was with a friend, and I wasn't staying long, but I had just gotten clean, like a week maybe.
Okay.
And she knew, but she was like, well, I'm going to order the cocaine, and like, you could stay or you could not, and this is what I'm going to do. So if you have a problem with it, then that's too bad, because if we're going to hang out, you're going to have to deal with me doing this if you're going to choose not to. And you're not, you're out of the band, and all right, well, I'll see you when you get back, like, meaning, back into the parties. And yeah, and then I really didn't hear from her for quite a while. I haven't seen her since. And and then like other friends that just, I just don't see as often, because they're uncomfortable, or maybe even I'm uncomfortable. Like, there have been times, where I'll be hanging out with friends and they'll be making their trips to the bathroom, and every time they come back, it's like, man, you are annoying. Like, I mean, I guess I was like this, but oof, this is too much. So yeah, the people who aren't interested in what you're doing will find a way to, or just will slip away. And it's just those natural breaks are hard, but no one's going to be happy trying to stick it out if you're not interested in what the other is doing.
Right. And maybe that's the good thing, actually.
Yeah. No, I think it is. I mean, I think otherwise you're trying to force something. You're trying to control a situation, and it's always a matter, as long as you part with goodwill. Mm-hmm. And with a lot of no one's coming to my head who I wouldn't, if they called me and was like, hey, I'm really up Schitt's Creek right now, I need your help. Mm-hmm. I would help, but to hang out on a Friday night, maybe not anymore.
Right.
But that's how it goes. I mean, now when now I have a group of friends that some are sober, some are in recovery, some are not, some are just, and because when you do have that connection of wanting the same things, of having similar goals, similar aspirations, and just supporting each other in what you're doing, it's just so much better than trying to hang on to someone just because you guys used to hang out.
Yeah. See, this is how prophetic Boy George and Culture Club were. They said time makes lovers feel like they got something real.
Yes, yeah. Absolutely. What is it? The sunken cost fallacy of like, I've put so much time and effort into this person, I would be losing so much if I backed out now. It's like, no, you've put in what you've put in, and in the time, that was what you needed and wanted to do. Yeah. But putting more into this isn't going to get you anywhere, right. And it's not going to add or enrich either of you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
See? Wow, look, I'm realizing, see, we were closer than we thought. See, come
Yeah,
on. Right?
absolutely.